5 of the Mindset of a Hustler podcast. Super exciting, and I'm so excited to have Marissa Morton today, a good friend of mine, who is a digital marketing specialist, freelance writer, and the founder of Conscious Growth Communications.
Hi, everybody.
Marissa, thank you for taking the time to be here with me today. Let's just get started.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me.
So let's just jump in straight into Conscious Growth Communications.
Yes.
Right.
Yep.
I don't think our listeners know much about it, and you can just tell us a little bit about that.
Yep. So Conscious Growth Communications is my own personal digital marketing company through which I offer social media services, content marketing, and public relations to brands that want to grow their online audience in a way that is both ethical and socially conscious. And I hope to expand it into just a community where do-gooder brands and creatives can kind of get together and share ideas of how to make the media a more inclusive space.
Right. So when you said ethical, and I know that's a big part of your company and why you started it, tell us a little bit more about that and what you're trying to accomplish with this.
Yeah. So everybody knows that marketing and advertising executives have that like skeezy rep of being super like sleazy and deceitful and manipulative, and we're in a time where people just really don't trust journalism in the mainstream media, and why would they? I mean, there's been so many deceitful tactics used to like manipulate consumers,
right.
And so that's why I really hesitated to go into the corporate marketing field, because I was like, I can't be one of those people. And so then this year with coronavirus and all the protests and George Floyd, I really saw a need for brands that wanted to be more socially conscious and ethical and respectful to their audience, but they didn't quite know how to do it. And so then I kind of just found a niche where my skills and experience and passion could kind of...
Wow, that's huge.
Yeah, it's really exciting.
And you recently started this, right? Because you were working for bigger companies.
Yeah, so all through college, I interned at full-service agencies, PR boutiques, in-house departments, remote projects. So I did like the whole corporate field, and I wanted to be a PR exec. And then I really realized that I am not someone that is built for the 9-to-5 world. Right. And so I kind of had to pivot. And then I graduated a year early from college, actually. And so I was lucky enough to take a gap year. I had the financial stability where I just wanted to take a year to like really get serious about figuring out what I wanted to do for the long term. And so I got to that point and realized and started doing freelance writing. A mentor actually suggested it to me. She was like, just start doing freelancing, just like hold you over until you figure out what you want to do. And so I was doing that, and then I really liked it. I liked the freedom of being able to choose who I work with, when I work, what projects I work on. And so then I was like, I can actually make this my career, like I can make a living out of this. And so I incorporated my business, came up with my name, and on September 3rd, I registered as an LLC and launched my brand.
That is so exciting.
Yeah, it's literally only been
exciting.
20 days. 20 days. What is it, the 20th?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, 20 days. So, pretty big.
Nuts.
Yeah.
So the name, is there anything special about the name, why you chose it?
Yeah, so actually when I was coming up with the idea for my business, I was down in Telluride visiting my boyfriend's family, and I was just in such a good place mentally and emotionally and physically at the time. And I was just feeling so creative, and all these ideas were just coming to me. And so we were in the car on the ride home, and I was like, I want to come up with I got out my notes because I just got some inspiration. I wrote down my mission, my brand values, and then I was like, I need a name. And so I was like, something that's really important to me is growth. So that was the first word that I thought of. Whether that's personal growth, professional growth, I think that stagnation is always the enemy. Like, you have to be striving for change at all times. And so I knew that I wanted growth to be a part of it, and plus growth is something that is a marketing term for growing your online audience, so I figured it works both ways. And then I chose communications because it describes the industry that I'm in. It's broad enough and adaptable that I can kind of change direction whenever I want to, which is important for me.
Right.
And so then I had growth communications, but I needed an adjective at the beginning because it just didn't really feel complete. And so I was thinking of things, and finally conscious hit me, like conscious growth. And I was like, oh my gosh, that's perfect, because you have to be aware of how you are growing and like conscious of everything around you in order to grow your audience, yourself, your business, whatever. And so then that's how Conscious Growth Communications was born.
Yeah, no, I love the name.
Thank you.
That's why I had to ask.
Thanks.
Where it came from.
Yeah.
Okay, so when you're saying that you're writing all these ideas down,
yeah,
were you planning on starting a business,
no.
or was it right there when that inspiration came?
Literally right there. Like I never wanted to be a boss. Both my parents are entrepreneurs. They both own their own businesses, and so I saw them do that my whole life, and they like hated it. Like they were just so miserable managing other people. They're still in like the corporate America field, and so it's not like they're a single member LLC like me. And so I saw that they were doing that, just hating their lives, and I was like, I never want to be a boss, and I never want to be an entrepreneur. I never want to be in charge of that many people, and so I did not plan on starting a business at all. But yeah, I was sitting in the car, and it just like hit me, and so it literally came out of nowhere.
That's nuts.
Yeah.
So you're writing all this down. What's the next step?
The next step was convincing myself that this wasn't the craziest thing that I could ever do. Like I'm recently graduated, ex-college student. I'm in the middle of a global pandemic. We're in the middle of going into a recession, and I'm like, yeah, I'm going to start my own business in a highly saturated field and doing something that nobody really understands unless you're in the industry. Right. And so my biggest hurdle after that was saying, okay, you actually have to go for this. Like, this is something that is igniting your soul and making you excited, and that's something you haven't felt for a really long time. So, like, you have to go after it. And so then I just started laying the groundwork. I created my business plan, my brand standards. I went over all those with some of my mentors. I got on the internet and figured out, like, what do I need to do to make this legit? I registered as an LLC, set up all my business bank accounts, set up my social media accounts, and it just kind of has been nonstop from there. Yeah.
That is so exciting. So that time frame, what's that? In a day, couple of days, a week?
I would say a week. We got back from Telluride on August 26th, and my business was registered by September 3rd.
So to our listeners, you can start your own business in a week.
A week. Like, just do it. Say yes. Just say yes to yourself. Say yes to your dreams. Say yes to your goals. Because the only person who's going to say no is you. That's the biggest no that's going to stand in your way. Other no's are just going to redirect you. But if you say no, that just shuts you down. So.
Yeah, no, that's beautiful. That's perfectly worded.
Thank you.
So we're 20 days into your business. What has been probably one of the most challenging aspects so far? I mean, you're just beginning.
Yeah. I mean, I'd say that the biggest challenge, one, was that self-doubt and just overcoming that and saying it's okay if you don't have it all figured out right now, you're going to figure it out. Right. And imposter syndrome is huge, where you just feel like you're a fraud, you know, and like I'm not qualified enough to do this yet. Like, why would anyone listen to me? It's getting over those little internal narratives in your head. And so that was massive once I kind of broke down that barrier, and I was like, I'm doing this regardless of what anybody thinks. And that was a hard place to get to, but I think I'm finally there, where I don't really care about other people's opinions. And then another hard thing has been the work-life balance, because as an entrepreneur, I mean, like, you don't turn off your business. I mean, your life is your business pretty much, especially in this startup phase. I was working like 20 hours a day at the beginning and sleeping like 3 hours a night just because I couldn't stop. Like, I was so excited, I could not stop. And so I was just going, and then finally it was starting to impact my relationships, because I was canceling on things with my friends, and like wasn't paying as much attention to my boyfriend, and like not going to my little brother's baseball games. And so finally I was like, you need to remember why you started doing this work in the first place. You started doing this work and you became an entrepreneur so that you could have the freedom to spend your time with your family and go to your brother's baseball games if on Saturdays or on a Friday afternoon. So I had to really remind myself that I'm not doing this for fame, I'm not doing this for wealth, I'm doing this to live the life that I want to live, and that includes freeing myself up to spend time with friends and family. And so really that phrase, remember why you started, has been crucial to helping me nail that work-life balance.
No, it's perfect. Yeah, I've always thought, the money comes, right? When you're passionate about something, when you enjoy what you're doing, the money's going to come.
Absolutely.
And I've seen that with so many entrepreneurs, or just people who are doing, passion projects.
Yeah.
When you see the core passion, that's really when something special happens.
Yeah. Another one of my mantras is do it with heart, and the rest will come. Because I really think that if you're giving it all to the universe and like giving your all to a project, I think that the universe is going to reward you, and all of it's going to come if you are following your path.
Oh yeah. So let's go back to the whole balancing life and work. What have you seen that helps you out with that?
a million calendars. Like I literally have a million calendars. I have my digital calendar on my phone. I've got like a physical big whiteboard calendar in my office. I've got a task management system that I use. I've got a daily planner that I use, and I use Google Calendar as well, and so to manage my meetings. And so I literally just have like millions of calendars to manage my life, which is necessary now.
Right. Yeah. I mean, I guess in my opinion, starting a business right now during the pandemic, you kind of have as much time and freedom to do it, which I don't think people have really like thought about.
Yeah, I mean, that's the biggest thing that I'm grateful for is that I took advantage of this opportunity. And in your guys' last episode, Malcolm was talking about how you have to shift your perspective on this year and really like take advantage and like see what is this year trying to teach me, like what can it give me. Like you can look at it as some terrible thing that's happened, but for me, right off the bat, I was like, this is the coolest thing that's like ever happened to us. I was like, this is going to revolutionize like the working industry, because before we were so focused on productivity and having our merit and our work based in productivity. And so now we're going to have to slow down and think, what am I without these 9 to 5 hours? And so that, I think that it's just such a cool shift. And I'm so glad that I was able to take the opportunity to use all this free time to do something that's actually going to help me and hopefully be with me for the rest of my life.
Oh, that's awesome. Yeah, I think right now, for example, like workspaces, people aren't going to buildings anymore. I feel like that's going to be gone. I think people are now realizing that they can, expand from just 9 to 5.
Yeah.
Which, I mean, I've always been a fan of.
Oh, you've always inspired me to like just pave your own way and like do what you got to do, like regardless of like what other people think about what you're doing. I mean, you've always had like 18 side hustles and you were all in on all of them. And so I saw you working on that and I was like, I want that life. I was like, I'm going to do what she's doing and I'm going to figure out how to do it.
That's awesome. Wow. Thanks, Mo.
You're welcome, Bob.
So what's kind of in the works, in, let's say, 3 years? What do you expect from yourself?
Yeah.
And what do you expect of your company?
Yeah. Like I said, I really hope that it can really become an online hub for do-gooder creatives and brands. I want to develop that community. I don't really know what that's going to look like so far. I think it's going to be based out of my Instagram, but we'll kind of see how that grows. I would like to offer some courses in ethical marketing, hopefully. And then I really want to write a book. I've always been a writer. Like since I was a little kid, I was just always writing like short stories and stuff like that. And so actually, I haven't even told anybody this. I haven't even told my boyfriend this, like my mom or anything. But this is insight, okay? I was laying in bed. It was like Tuesday night. It was like 11 o'clock at night, and I was doing like my nightly prayer. And I was just thinking, I was like, how in the world did I get here? Like, thank you so much for like putting me in this place. And I started looking back on like, okay, how did you actually like get here to this place where you're so fulfilled and content? And then I like saw this like really vivid image of like me giving a TED talk or like my acknowledgement speech and like telling everyone, okay, this is how I got here. I just want to say thank you to my mom. So like I saw that speech going on in my head and I was like, I have to write this down. I was like, I have to write this all down right now. So I got out of bed, went to my computer, and I just started writing. And like I didn't even know like what I was writing, but then as I kept going, I realized I was like, this is your first book. I think this is the outline to your first book. And so hopefully within 3 years, I will have that book finished and be a published author is the goal.
Exciting.
Yeah.
Yes. All right. Real quick, title of the book. Go.
Okay.
5 seconds.
I've got my title. It is called I Was Destined to Be an Entrepreneur, Finding Your Purpose, Making Mistakes, and Saying Fuck It to the System. Can I say fuck it on here?
Yeah, no. No, you're good. That's awesome, Will.
Yeah, thank you. I've just been such a creative time for me where I mean my brain is just going, and I know that I'm probably gonna have a slump or like I hit a block and like I'm gonna deal with that and hopefully have this portion to like push me through that. So I really think it's all just peaks and valleys and going with the flow.
No, that's amazing. I recently read an article and it was talking about how you're not always going to be motivated, you're not always going to be inspired, but the best way to get re-inspired is to go out and inspire someone else.
Yes, I love that. I absolutely love that because I'm a natural giver, and so like whenever I give something, I always get it back tenfold. I've always said that. And so if I'm going out and helping people, maybe if I can't create great content, fine, but like if I can go tell somebody like I absolutely love your content, like please keep doing this, somehow the universe like takes that karmic energy and they're like, all right, now it's time for you to go make great content too. So I completely agree with that.
So that, I guess that's my small little piece of advice for you when you do come to that halt, which will happen because it's happened to me personally.
Yeah. And I mean, you've been doing this for 2 years now, 3 years?
Mindset of a Hustler?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think close to 3 years now.
I can't believe it's gone that fast, so I just can't even wait to see where I am in 3 years just because you guys have just blown up over that time. And I remember you coming up with like the idea for it and everything.
And what's crazy is, you kind of have a vision, and it's, kind of what we thought what we were going to do has nothing to do with what we're doing right now.
No, it takes you in so many different directions, and I think that's another thing is you have to be really adaptable and flexible and open to change.
Yes.
Like if you have your mind fixated on like this one thing, this is how it's going to be, and this is how I'm going to do it, it's not going to work because that's just not how the universe works. I mean, nothing goes according to plan. That's just life. And so you have to be ready to roll with the punches and like change your offerings based on what your audience needs or based on what you need at that time. Mm-hmm. So I hopefully will keep this open mindset throughout building this brand and just keep seeing how it evolves. I'm really excited.
Perfect. How are you reaching out to create new clientele, especially if you're so new to this business?
Yeah. So mostly through social right now. I'm a social media strategist, so I figured that a great way to kind of showcase my work is like using my brand as like a case study and like showing this is exactly how like I gauge my following, is at least how I'm envisioning it. And so it's really just been like reaching out to creatives, and like it's a lot of work. It's like just like doing comments and like DMing people and just emailing people and like asking to work together and reaching out to other connections and just saying, hey, do you know anybody that would be interested in this? And it's really just not being afraid to be annoying, to be completely honest. Like you have to like be kind of annoying. It's going to feel, you have to put yourself out there and just be open to creating those relationships,
And I like how you said it's a lot of work. I think a lot of people think entrepreneurship and they think, oh, they're living the life, they get, all this free time. But really, there's a lot of time that goes into it.
Oh my goodness. I mean, and then it's the groundwork. Like, I know that right now I'm laying the groundwork so that I can live that life, hopefully in the future, where I can travel wherever I want and like have a free schedule and take off a month if I don't feel like working that month. So I'm laying the groundwork right now. And that means working like pretty much 24/7 on this brand.
Right.
And doing it in a way that's also healthy for me and honoring my relationships in my life. But it's a lot of work right now. And I know that it's going to transform into something sustainable that like I can carry on for the rest of my career.
No, I love it. So, Marissa, you said you graduated 3 years in college, so a year early. And what was your degree in again?
Journalism and media communications.
So there's always like this misconception going around that you don't always have to go to college to be an entrepreneur. And there's always here, both sides. I really appreciated the time that I was in college. So I was wondering if what you learned in college got you to where you're at right now, or you kind of were better off self-learning.
I would say both. So I was I am very blessed and very privileged that I was able to go to a university that had amazing professors, and the media program had a bunch of ex-industry professionals that would come and teach that year. And so, I mean, just the insights that you get from those people are invaluable, just because, I mean, you're never going to get that opportunity to like network with the VP of a giant PR agency, and so the fact that I got those opportunities was amazing. I made some great connections with professors that have helped me with networking and getting jobs to this day. So I would say that going to college and getting my education did help me in that sense. But in another sense, I think that most of my learning was done outside of the classroom. Because marketing is so hands-on, it's hard to simulate something like that in a classroom. Like, you really have to get out there and just do it. And it's really trial and error and just figuring out what works. And so most of my experience comes from my internships. I did 4 internships throughout school, which helped a lot. I highly recommend them. I did 4, I did 1. They're so important just for making those connections and getting that experience. And I did it in like 4 completely different fields. And so that helps teach me exactly what I didn't want to do, pretty much. And so that was great for me. And then also just completely apart from education and experience, it was really putting in the work for myself to get to the point where I could heal my wounds and work on my self-esteem and work on my confidence to get to a point where I could be comfortable enough to be an entrepreneur. Right. And I wouldn't be able to do that if I didn't put in that work on myself. So I think it's really just a combination of so many different factors. I think that sometimes the school route is made for people, sometimes it's not. I think that however you get to that point, that's how you were supposed to get to that point.
Right. And I almost think marketing is one of those degrees where it's only going to matter for like 3 to 5 years.
Exactly, because it's so like timely, you know. I mean, the industry changes so much. There's going to be new social platforms within the next 5 years. There's new social platforms that we've already have in the last 5 years, and so it really is just you're constantly learning. You never ever stop learning if you're an entrepreneur. It's a lifelong journey. And I love learning, so that's perfect.
I think that's just in life.
Right? I
think you should always be learning.
Yes, because I mean, if you're not learning, you're not changing, you're not growing.
Exactly.
So what are you doing?
Exactly. I think my final question that I've been asking everyone is, what does being a hustler mean to you?
I would say that being a hustler means to me going after the things that you are passionate about and diving in head first for it. I think that the hustle and the grind has had, like, it's kind of gotten a bad reputation in the past couple of years just because people are, like, sick of being told, like, you have to, like, constantly be, like, working and hustling to, like, be valuable. And I don't think that that's accurate anymore. I think people are tired of that. But I think that we can reclaim the word hustler and use it to be somebody that actually respects themselves and loves themselves and gets their value from their passions and their hobbies and turns that into a career. And I think that's the hustle. I think that's the most beautiful hustle there is.
No, I love it. I love that response.
Thanks.
Marissa, how can people get connected with you? How can they, if they want your expertise on digital marketing, how can they contact you?
So you can find me on my website, www.consciousgrowthcommunications.com. And you can also find me on social media on Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn, and Pinterest at consciousgrowth.co.
Perfect.
Yep. And my email is on my website and my social media. So I love making new connections. So reach out to me if you want to work together.
Yes, reach out to Marissa. And don't forget to sign up for our daily motivational text messages that we send out every day at 7 a.m. You could go to mindsettext.com to subscribe. If you enjoyed this episode, please subscribe, leave us some feedback, share it to a friend that you think might benefit from this. And Marissa, if you don't have anything else for our audience, I think we're gonna disconnect.
Sweet, thank you guys so much for having me.
Yep, we're out.
Yeah, all this money on the table got me claustrophobic. They ain't playing with no paper, so they had to fold it. Busted down 45 is what the mustard quoted. Know the DA tripping on me when it counts are frozen. Pouring walk in the passage, I'll make it happen. 1, 2, bust down, cause you know I'm packing. 3, 4 fingers up when I go to dap 'em. Running up another check, I'm finna double lap 'em. When we run around flossing, how much shit it crown when he sliding down flossing? All swipes clean and Supreme looks saucy. Look at me, I'm dripping like I got it out the faucet. Shots blank blank from the Shark Tank. Rolling up dank, pulling up drink. Rolling up dank, pulling up drink. Shots point blank, getting bang.
Squad rolling up to the club. They hating, they sizing us up. Baddies bring out all the bottles. Now they showing love. Only show out in the nighttime. Like look at the stars. They want a taste of that high life. So we take them to Mars.
Hold up, wait, yo, it's Mac. Hopping on the beat and with this verse and I'm a spaz. Hold that drink, now we lit. Flying down Santa Fe, about to hit the strip. Yeah, road is dang, always smoking. Laughing with my niggas cause this shit is extra potent. Yeah, get this bang, always grinding. Shouts to Manny Fresh, now a nigga big time. And what we doing? Taking over every city that we come through. I'm sorry that your woman wanna kick it like it's kung fu. Fondue, dripping like an overflowing cup do. And if you know the motto, we don't fuck with the 1-2. Sliding in the A4, throwing up that A1. Coming for the 303, they asking where I came from. Doesn't even matter, cause I know where I'm going. Energizer bunny on the beat, I never stop flowing. Mag.
Squad rolling up to the club. They hating, they sizing us up. Baddies bring out all the bottles. Now they showing love. Only show out in the nighttime. Like look at the stars. They want a taste of that high life. So we take them to Mars.
Oh fuck, back on my bullshit. She go far from me, slipping on the new drip. It's a party, every time the crew lit. Fuck around with them, and dope gon' push it. Gonna get to them, you gotta go through me. Stand in front, the kid is not the spot to be. I try to stay low key, I grew up MOB. I swear it's R.I.P. before they spotted me. But we just tryna do it big, turning up the party. Left the dude hanging on, she ain't even sorry. Baby wanna be my sugar mama, no monotony. She smiled at me with the keys to his Rari. Damn, bitch, that's some player shit. I'm good around my city on some mayor shit. And all these suckers still up on that hating shit. We gon' light this bitch up like the Vegas Strip.
Squad rolling up to the club. They hating, they sizing us up. Baddies bring out all the bottles. Now they showing love. Only show out in the nighttime. Like look at the stars. They want a taste of that high life. So we take them to Mars. Why?